Welcome to the Valerius Elementary Orientation. My name is Michelle Cole and I'm the principal here at Valerius Elementary. This is my second year in this leadership role and my 17th year with the Urbandale Community School District. In UCSD, we are committed to teaching all, reaching all, and bringing learning to life for everyone. And this year at Valerius, we're going to continue our work on engagement, and we are going to focus on finding joy in the journey, no matter what instructional model we find ourselves in throughout the year. While there is so much to talk about and so much excitement for the upcoming year, today's orientation is focused on the health and safety guidelines for students, as well as an announcement about our use of blooms. Student arrival will look different at Valerius this year. There will be no lining up out front down by the main office doors like there has been in years past. So with that, we are going to bump up our early bell time to 8:40 instead of 8:45. If you are dropping students off, they need to stay in the car until 8:40 when an adult comes out that door. Students may get out on the right-hand side in front of the door, walk in, and head straight to their classrooms. There will be a breakfast station set up for those who want to purchase a grab-and-go breakfast to take with them to their classroom. If your student walks, rides a bike, or rides the bus, they will come towards the front main office and go to the right, and around that back side, there's a blacktop, and then they will come in at the south doors, which is closer to the media center. There will be another breakfast station there for students who would like to purchase that grab-and-go breakfast, and they will go straight to their classrooms. The end of the day, however, should look very similar to years past. At 3:30, our first dismissal will be adventure time, and they will go straight to the gym. At 3:32, walkers and daycare van riders will be dismissed through the south door, daycare through the north door. So will be up by the star. Walkers will come out the south door. At 3:34, we'll dismiss our bus riders to line up outside on that south blacktop. We've painted little squares and 3 feet apart so students know where to stand in their 2 bus lines. And at 3:35, students will be dismissed to parent pickup spots. There will be a K1 location where students will sit 3 feet apart, a 2-3 location, and a 4-5 location, and that will look the exact same as years past. You will put down your visor with your name on it. You will get that name card shortly in the mail, and Mrs. McGregor or I will be out there to say your name. We will call it in. Inside, they will have those kids come out to the front. This line takes about 15 minutes, so we just ask that you practice patience and that you don't drive around each other in line. And the big thing to look for in this picture is the crosswalk. Just be very careful as you're coming in and out. That's where students will cross to ride the bus or to walk home. Student face masks are required this year, and students will be issued a lanyard with a pouch to store their mask in when they're not in use. Masks must be worn upon entering the building after recess, coming in from PE, or other classroom activities that have been outside. The lanyard itself will allow for immediate access to that, and the lanyards are breakaway for anybody that is concerned. They do have that breakaway option to them. Mask breaks will be scheduled throughout the day for students in the classroom. During these breaks, students will be at least 6 feet apart. Modeling of appropriate mask wearing will be taught and reinforced with our students. And of course, we ask that masks be washed before using again. It's recommended that you have more than one. The school will be providing one. And if you need help getting any more masks, just reach out to our facilitator of family outreach, which is Brittany Cooley this year. So one of the big things you'll see in the classroom guidance is the 3 feet apart while wearing a mask. All people in the room should remain around 3 feet apart while wearing a mask, and seating will be arranged at least 3 feet apart. Safety reminders for students and staff will be posted about masks, hand washing, and social distancing in the classroom and all around the building. Teachers will offer routine hand washing that will be built into their daily schedule. Hand sanitizer and ozone water will also be used by students before transitioning between activities. If you do not want hand sanitizer used on your student, please let your teacher know. Tape markings will be used to create and help maintain physical distancing around the building, and students will use their own materials in the classroom rather than sharing. Bathroom breaks are a necessity throughout the day, of course, and kindergarten and first graders have access to their own restrooms between classrooms. We are building a schedule for other classrooms to have time in the restroom. It would just be the number of students in the restroom that there are stalls, and as students come out, some more can go in. Students will still be able to use the restroom as needed. One improvement that we are making even prior to COVID, and this was just in response to parent feedback on the survey about the cleanliness of our restrooms, is to close our restrooms down twice a day, only for 5 to 10 minutes at a time. The boys' bathroom would be closed for 10 minutes and then the girls. And that is for Rich to get in there and do some deep cleaning during the day in efforts to improve the way that it looks and feels for kids as they use the restroom. As mentioned earlier, breakfast and lunch will be in the classroom. All of the breakfast and lunches will be grab and go style. The breakfast will be available right as kids come in, and lunch will have two options: cold lunch or hot lunch provided by the school, and that menu will be coming, as well as what milk option, white milk or chocolate milk, that the student would like. Students bringing lunches from home can bring it in a reusable bag. This is improved guidance from a few weeks ago. This reusable bag, if they would like, must be kept in their backpack until lunchtime, and then it will be put straight back into the student's backpack. Students will be encouraged to be independent in opening their own items, and the utensils will be prepackaged and wrapped so that students have them right away. Same with condiments, and there will not be a food sharing table this year. Students will use the same seat every day in order to avoid cross contamination. And one of the big changes is that prior to lunch, the custodians will need just a few minutes to make sure that the desks are wiped down. Since it's in the classroom, they would normally do that to the lunch tables, but in the classroom, they'll have to come in. So teachers are working on strategies that they can use for those 5 minutes prior to lunch. And then after lunch, the custodians will come back in to make sure all the desks have been sanitized after the students are done eating. So, the one good thing about lunches in the classroom is that I was able to spread out the lunch and recess schedule a little bit more. So, we will only have one lunch and one recess happening per grade level at a time, which is just nice for our playground. And I will get into that here in just a minute. If your student has any food allergies, additional precautions will be taken. Please get in touch with our nurse, Jenny Vajagas, about those food allergies so we can be sure to get you a diet modification form, get you connected with our nutrition services, or provide the safety that your student needs in the classroom during lunchtime. And since I mentioned recess, let's talk about that a little bit here. So, you might have seen already, if you've driven by or been by Valerius, that there is orange fencing out on the playground, and that will divide our playground into three sections. When students go outside at recess, they will stay in their cohort, which means with the same group of kids that they're learning with all day long. And students can take off their masks when they're outside, and they're highly encouraged to do so. And we will be encouraging kids to stay at least 6 feet apart when their masks are off on the playground. Traditional games like tag and touch football, those things won't be allowed this year, just in terms of social distancing. So we ordered a lot of yard games and lawn games that we'll be teaching kids about, and different recess equipment for the blacktop that kids can be using throughout the day. Students will rotate through these different stations throughout their day, so they won't just be stuck with one at different recess times. And then when they line up to come back in, they will line up in their zone. Their teacher will meet them there, and they will put their mask back on before heading back into the classroom. We are so glad that we get to continue offering related arts during the school year. Miss Bach will be back as our art teacher. During mask in the art room, masks will be required and students will have individual supplies. Mrs. Irvin will also return as our music teacher. Singing activities have to be held outside and students have to be placed 10 feet apart. We've been working with music teachers on that, and they have some fabulous ideas. Only non-singing activities will be held inside with masks. If equipment is used, it will be sanitized with the ozone water in between. And there are no chorus concerts until further notice. Mr. Larson will be back as our PE teacher. As much as possible, he's encouraged to take students outside so they can take their mask off when doing PE. However, inside masks will be required. Mrs. Wells will be back as our band instructor for our fifth graders, and she will have a lot to share. They will be doing individual lessons 6 feet apart. There will be no big rehearsals before school, and there will be no band concerts this year. We also have Mrs. Marwadell returning, and she is excited to teach the Media Center classes in the student classroom. She will go to them, and books will be checked out online as much as possible. We still really want to get books in kids' hands, and we are excited to do so. When students return those books, they will sit for 72 hours before they get reshelved. I should have mentioned that lunch schedules will be provided by your classroom teacher closer to the start date. But with that, we still want to encourage students to bring a healthy snack with them to school every day for snack time in their classroom. They can be brought from home or they can be bought through our nutrition services. Birthday treats will be allowed, but there is a caveat to that. They have to be pre-packaged and individually wrapped. So things like cupcakes that come that aren't individually wrapped would not be able to be given out, but things like the little Debbies or things that are in those pre-packaged plastic wraps, those can be set on a counter for students to grab individually. And we still want to do our best to celebrate that special birthday of your student. The health office at Valerius will look a little different this year. We will have a sick bay and a well bay, two separate spaces to be utilized for our students, and our healthcare providers will be wearing additional personal protective equipment. If your student is not feeling well and has any symptoms that might be related to COVID-19, please keep your student home and monitor their temperature and symptoms. Symptoms often associated with COVID-19 include a fever, 100.4 or above, or chills, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, loss of taste or smell, headache, body aches, generalized aching, nasal congestion, nausea or vomiting, diarrhea, or poor appetite. If your student needs to miss a day, please call the health office. Do not call your classroom teacher. You can include them in an email if you'd like out of courtesy, but we really need you to call the health office at 457-6503 or the main office at 457-6500. Please call whether your student is attending virtually, in the hybrid model, or on site. This year at Valerius, we are not able to allow non-essential visitors, volunteers, or activities in the building. If you need to make an appointment with myself or with your classroom teacher, we just ask that you email or reach out by phone and we can set up a video conference or just talk over the phone, whatever works for you. If you're dropping off your student or picking up your student, we ask only one adult at a time comes into the building with a mask on to do so. And while we know that this will be different for us, we're very grateful for your support, knowing that we must protect the health of our staff and our students. We know that this is a lot of new for our students and our families and even our staff, and that a lot of instruction will be provided at the beginning of the year for students, just like this orientation video is being provided to you as families. And so our teachers will do a lot of what we call explicit instruction with students in all of the areas that I have already talked about today, informing them about the new routines and the new rules and the new way of doing school in the hybrid model. And after that instruction is provided, we will use that reinforcing language, reminding language, and redirecting language with our students as we move throughout the year and learn how to adapt to this new system. Which leads me right into this piece on our PDSA process that we use across the UCSD system. Being that so much of this is new and that we're doing school in a whole new way, in a way that we've never done it before in Urbandale, we will continue to use our plan, do, study, act process that allows us to implement the plan that I'm sharing with you right now. We're going to live it out for those first few weeks. We're going to check it. We're going to get feedback from you, feedback from kids, see if it's working, and then make actions and tweaks to improve that system as we go throughout the year. This will be done not only at a building system level, but also in our smaller classroom system levels as well. So as we wrap up this presentation, I just wanted to share how we kind of used that process last year, and it will inform us of our choices this year. So As we talked as a leadership team at the very end of last year, one of the points that we talked a lot about was blooms. We really appreciated our use of blooms last year. We felt like we loved getting pictures out to families and giving you a peek into what the inside of a school day looks like. It was an easy communication tool. But what we learned last spring through our teaching online in April and May is that the journals and just feedback and using it as an instructional tool, it just wasn't quite as user friendly. And so we have decided to switch over to Seesaw this year. Seesaw is very similar. We will send out instructions and we will work with you on all of this and being able to download it as an app and have access to it online. What we're looking forward to is students being able to use that in instruction, whether we're in this hybrid model, so they can use it at home and in remote learning. That you parents can just make comments right there, and students can see those really easily. Teachers can see those, and parents can even see the feedback that teachers are giving their students about their learning. And what we've learned is that it's just a little bit easier for our youngest students, especially K2, to navigate. So, again, more information will come, but I just wanted to share some of our reasoning as to why we're making that shift this year. So that is the end of our Valerius Orientation video. You can always email me or call me at the numbers provided on the screen. At Valerius, we are so ready to welcome our students back through our doors for the 2021 school year, and we are looking forward to finding joy in the journey as we go.